and today we will be discussing the movie We Summon the Darkness. Now, as I have said, if you like my movie reviews, leave me a comment on what you would like me to review, and I'll do it in an upcoming video if I can find a way to watch it. Now, also, if you like, subscribe, get others to like and subscribe as well, feel free. And to those who have, I'm glad to have you as my viewers. Now on to our movie review. This movie was done in 2019 and it was released in April of this year. The cast includes, I am going to give their characters' names, Alexandra Daddario as Alexis. Many would know this actress from her roles from her role on the TV show White Collar, where she played Kate, and also the movie Burying the Ex, where she played the love interest in that as well. Amy Forsyth, who plays the character of Beverly. This one I'm not particularly knowledgeable about, but it comes from the show Rise as Gwen Strickland, Margot Slater on Channel Zero, and Ashley Fields on The Path, and Andina in Defiance. Next up is Keenan Johnson as the character Mark. Sorry, I forgot to mention Amy Forsyth's character name is Beverly. Now, Keenan Johnson's character is named Mark, and the thing about this is that he was known for being Daniel in the TV show Euphoria. He was Kyo Ozunaka on the TV show Guidance, although I might be mispronouncing that last part with the name of the character. And he was also Colt Wheeler on Nashville. Next up is Maddie Hasson, who played the character of Val. Allie Hodges, she was also Allie Hodges on Mr. Mercedes. Henrietta Henry Coles on Impulse. Joe Masterson on Twisted, the TV series. And Willa Monday on The Finder. Then there's Logan Miller, who plays Kovacs. With him, I couldn't find as much TV or material like that, and it came down to him being Ben Miller in the movie Escape Room, Benjamin on the TV series The Walking Dead, and Sam Alexander, Nova, and Little Flash in the TV series The Ultimate Spider-Man. And there's Austin Swift, who played the character of Ivan. This version was known as, the only thing I could find for him, the listing is Colin in a TV series called Embeds. And the final character that was listed for the movie, the final character that actually plays some part in the movie is Johnny Knoxville as the character of Pastor John Henry Butler. Johnny Knoxville's previous roles include Jackass, the TV series, and movies where he played himself. And you can ask your parents and your grandparents about this if you're too young to know about that. And Marshall Ratcliffe, Juan Ponce de Leon, and many others on the on the series Drunk History. He was Luke Duke in the Dukes of Hazzard movie, of which I do not recommend. And then he was also Scrad and Charlie, a combo character in Men in Black 2. And that covers up our cast and the roles they played in the movie, along with something you could look up to find them in from previous roles. Get a fix on how they work usually in other places. The plot of this movie in the 1980s, which is where this movie's, well, the movie is set to take place in the 1980s, and it's what starts out as a group a group of girls attending, a group of girls traveling to see a band play, meet up with a group of guys at the concert, and they end up joining together after the concert to a meeting that will turn into a night that nobody will forget at a party at a secluded house. Now, some bonus notes I decided to include is that Logan Miller, who plays Kovacs, is actually a big metal fan in real life as well. So he probably didn't have to do much acting when it came to playing his character for that love of music. Then there's the idea of the original script, which had Alexis' stepmother being her biological mom, and the third act was actually more elaborate, which to me makes a lot more sense now that I've actually seen the movie and seen how it went. Knowing that the third act was more elaborate originally makes me feel better about how I thought on it. Another note is that the director of this movie shot another movie, Human Capital, at the same time he was doing this film. And Alexandra Daddario, who plays Alexis in this movie, actually worked with the writer of the movie, Alan Trezza, on the previous movie I mentioned, Burying the X. And this movie was shot in a little over 2 weeks. To be precise, it was done at 16 days, which I find actually impressive. And for my final note about this, and another impressive thing, is that originally the fire pit scene that they did in this movie was going to be done around a fireplace inside the house. But when they arrived and saw that there was a pit that was already there, they decided to go with the fire pit that was outside since it was there and it made a good idea for the scene. Now on to my good and bad notes of this film. For the good, it progresses at a steady rate, so it doesn't get you it doesn't make you bored with the movie, but at the same time, it doesn't seem like it goes by too quickly. And in the way the movie's told, it made me think of Cabin in the Woods, which is another movie I highly recommend you watch. And I do say it reminds me, but it is not like Cabin in the Woods. And in the case of this movie, I think it was actually a good idea of using a time period, particularly the 1980s in this case, because of the idea that they were using that rock music and satanic cults were coming up, because in the movie it does make mention on the TV that the store clerk's watching that there have been satanic murders going on throughout the Midwest that are following a heavy metal band. And during the 80s, during the 60s, 70s, and the 80s, this was a real popular theory that rock music led to satanic cults, which were leading to them committing murders. Now for the bad. Unfortunately, what I listed as a good thing is also a bad thing. When they use the music versus religion, that's a trope that's often seen in society and movies nowadays. In society and movies, a lot, especially in movies that are considered to be horror movies, or well, mainly in horror movies, but also in almost any thriller movie. They want to use that as well as their big idea, which I find to be a sad trope that they have come across as the idea. Then there's the fact that I actually personally consider this movie more of a comedy than a thriller or horror like it's listed as. I'll give it that it does follow some of the ideas of horror and thriller, where it's got blood, it's got short scares, nothing long lasting, nothing drawn out to get you interested in it as a horror movie. It's got the thriller where, like I said, it's the short, quick scares, but I don't really see it as either one. It, it had me laughing most of the time when I watched it. And now for my final grade and recommendation. My final grade for this movie is a B plus. I would have given it an A, but because they wanted it to be scary, but they ended up, like I said, in my view, making it more of a comedy, I had to cut down on them for it. And my recommendation is this is good for multiple watches, or if you want a short, quick scare. And actually, I would say let your teenagers watch this willingly. I think, if I remember correctly, the movie's actually given an R rating, but that would be a misrating for it. If it is, this movie at worst, is the R. I give it a PG-13 rating and let it go. Because it's not PG because of the language and the blood, but it's not an R because, I'm sorry, it's not that bad. I'd say it falls in between like Gremlins did. So PG-13 and call it even. And now tell me what you thought of the movie if you've seen it. And if you do see it, still let me know. And also, let me know what you'd like for me to do for an upcoming video. And I'll be here to read your comments and hope to hear from you soon.